Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. Karlyn Borisenko has a video called I'm Pro-Choice, Donald Trump is 100% right about abortion. So let's hear what Trump had to say and what Karlyn Borisenko had to say.
It just gets worse.
Okay, so she's live streaming the Majority Report, somebody talking about the Trump town hall meeting where the CNN reporter just kept going after Trump and he parried every blow.
Let's do this Roe v. Wade. This was the thing that really bothered me. So I'm like, I'm watching the Nick game in the background, also trying to watch this. I watched a lot of it this morning as well. And this still sticks out to me as the thing that's the most infuriating here, because we're getting into policy implications. And this is Trump speaking about abortion, where he lies specifically about the Democratic position with zero pushback from Caitlin Collins.
All right,
none.
How does he lie? I'll be interested.
The way I look, I think it's very important to say this. I consider the other side to be radical, because the other side, under Roe v. Wade and other things, the other side, they're radical because they will.
Yes, they are.
Remember the debate with Hillary Clinton? They said, rip the baby out of the womb at the end of the 9th month. They will kill the baby in the 9th month.
Okay, so first let's look at Roe versus Wade. Roe versus Wade divided the pregnancy into trimesters and said in the first trimester, anything goes. Just do the abortion as long as you're a doctor. Second trimester, the state is allowed to put safety regulations in place to protect the mother. After 24 weeks, which is fetal viability, Roe v. Wade said that the states could, if they chose, limit or prohibit abortions after viability, but they had to have an exception for the mother's health. Now, Roe versus Wade did not define health, but Doe versus Bolton did. And hold on, I'll pull that up for you, and I'll be linking to it below. Okay, so here comes the Doe versus Bolton definition of health. The medical judgment may be exercised in light of all factors, physical, emotional, psychological, familial, and the woman's age, relevant to the well-being of the patient. All these factors may relate to health. So do you see how that's a loophole you can drive a truck through? Familial. She can say, well, I already have one kid and I only want one kid. I don't want a second kid. She can say, well, you know, we don't feel like we're ready to start a family yet, so we don't want this baby at this time. The woman's age. Now, I'm 35. I'm too old for this shit. That's a total loophole. Anything where the doctor's willing to check up, yep, health. We'll call it health, and we'll go ahead with this post-viability abortion under Roe versus Wade. Don't ever let anybody try to tell you that Roe versus Wade allowed any meaningful limits on abortion. They only allowed you to have health provisions in place after about 12 weeks, and they gave you a health exemption so big that the planet Jupiter could fly through it. So he's absolutely right. Under Roe v. Wade, she could be 9 months pregnant and you can just start ripping off limbs.
If you look at that crazy governor of Virginia from the former governor, where he said, no, the baby won't be born, and then we'll decide essentially whether or not to execute the baby.
Can we talk about...
Okay, pause. I will pull that up and link. Okay, so I've got it. And he hemmed and hawed about these abortions, you know, only being done if there's something dreadfully wrong with the baby. But you know, they're not requiring that there be something dreadfully wrong with the baby. They're just, it should be up to the woman and her doctor. So I'll provide a link to the governor saying, well, after it's born, if it survives, you decide whether you want to revive it or not. Let's get back to Karlyn.
You would do if
No,
you
but these are the radical people.
re-elected.
It's not the pro-life people that are
But
radical.
if you are re-elected and you're back in the Oval Office and you get legislation to your desk, would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
Trump is
What I would do
pro-choice.
is negotiate so that people are happy. But the fact that we were...
Okay, first of all, you're not going to negotiate so that everybody's happy, but if you look at what most pro-choice people are in favor of and what pro-life people would at least be willing to tolerate as an interim step, you could make a lot of progress, because most pro-choicers are not in favor of post-viability abortions. In fact, a large number don't want abortions past 12 weeks. So, you could start doing some limiting there, but let's hear what Karlyn has to say and what Trump has to say.
Right. Well, I'm so proud of it. We put 3 great justices on the Supreme Court. We have almost 300 federal judges on the Supreme Court.
So just to be clear, Mr. President, you would sign a federal abortion ban into law.
I said this. I want to do what's right, and we're looking, and we want to do what's right for everybody.
But what's right?
But now, for the first time, the people that are pro-life have negotiating capability, because you didn't have it before. They could kill the baby in the 9th month or after the baby was born.
Okay, the kill the baby in the 9th month, if we back up 4 weeks from, actually 38 weeks could be considered full term, but I'm going to go ahead and say 40 weeks. So say 40, 39, 38, 37, 36. So I pulled up some cases, 36 plus weeks. Okay. We've got the case of Sarah Brown. Sarah Brown's mother was 36 weeks pregnant when she went to George Tiller, and George Tiller used the fact that the mother was only 15 years old as a reason to perform an abortion. He injected drugs into the baby's head. They failed to kill her. She was born alive, and she was adopted by a pro-life couple. So I'll provide a link to that. Then we have something about Stephen Brigham, and that they found frozen fetuses, one of them 36 weeks in his freezer. Then we've got, what have we got? Where did that, hold on, let me open this. There we go. We've got here a recording of George Tiller. Oh, I know why I left it open, because he was talking about, in a 5-year period, the 10,000 abortions he did between 24 and 36 weeks. It's only 18 seconds. I'll play that for you. He's talking, this is George Tiller talking about, and he is distinguishing between abortions and fetal anomaly abortions. So listen.
We have some experience with late terminations, about 10,000 patients between 24 and 36 weeks.
10,000 patients between 24 and 36 weeks.
And something like 800 fetal anomalies between 26 and 36 weeks.
And about 800 fetal anomalies between 26 and 36 weeks. So notice he broke those down into just abortions in general and fetal anomalies.
In the past 5 years.
In the past 5 years. So that one doctor alone in a 5-year period, 10,000 post-viability abortions, and he was only counting 800 of them as being for fetal anomalies. Then we've got a CBS News article about John Biskind starting an abortion. And how old was the baby? He said, yeah, it was a 36-week baby that survived the abortion attempt. And then we have Shelley Sella, Dr. Sella, who an ultrasound taken found that the baby was 39 weeks, 2 days, which was equivalent to a gestational age of 40 weeks. And it was an elective abortion of a viable fetus. Did the baby die? Hold on, let me see. I don't remember if the baby survived or not. Okay. Ultrasound confirmed fetal demise. So she did a elective abortion full term. Full term. Killing babies that survive abortions. Again, the William Waddle case where he strangled a 32-week baby in a hospital nursery in front of several horrified nurses, a pediatrician, and an emergency physician. And he managed to beat the rap because somebody in the jury said, well, the definition of death is irreversible cessation of brain function, and you never tested the baby first to make sure she had brain function before you strangled her, so maybe there wasn't any brain function for you to stop, even though she was crying and wouldn't stop breathing. So far, Trump's right. And, we can just Gosnell, oh my God. And the state knew he was doing it, and they, we don't want to look because we don't want to close an abortion clinic. They knew he was doing post-viability abortions and then severing the baby's spines with surgical scissors. In fact, I'll just link to some Gosnell stuff, and I'll also link to some Karlyn stuff. His staff talking about the live-born infants that he killed that were certainly viable infants.
Now they won't be able to do that.
But I think this is a really important question for you to answer, because this is something every Republican, including those who are running against you for the nomination, are being asked about, is would you sign a federal abortion ban into law?
And many of them are going to give you the same answer as I am. First of all, I am honored to have done what I did. And a lot of people said, in 150 years, he's now the most consequential president because he saved so many lives. And I'm honored to have done.
Applause. All right, so that's just that's literally the exact issue I had with the way that she conducted this. I mean, it's not an accident that she was chosen for this. But at the same time, they're trying to put women in these positions to pin him down on things like, rape lawsuits and abortion bans. I don't really care what his policy platform position is on abortion, because it's just going to be what he decides at the moment and what's the most extreme thing that he can get away with while appealing to his right-wing base and getting it through, Congress, if he were to be president, God forbid, getting it through the Senate and the House in terms of an abortion ban. There's no question that given the constituencies that are behind Trump, that they would attempt a federal abortion ban when he was in office, because the guy has no principles. It's not about...
And Trump has just said he wouldn't do it. Trump has come out and told the Republicans they need to drop the abortion ban stuff. Trump has been very clear that he would negotiate like a first trimester sort of compromise on abortion, which is the only sensible thing to do.
I'll have to agree with Karlyn that at this point, it's the only sensible thing to do. And the pro-lifers are going to leap on me with both feet. But you have to... It's like when Lincoln first became president, he was favoring a gradualist abolition of slavery because the Southerners' slavery was so entrenched. It was so much a part of how they lived their lives that he felt if you violently yanked that away from them, all hell was going to break loose. And it's the same with abortion. And was it in the Planned Parenthood v. Casey, or was it a later case that one of the justices pretty much said people have built their whole lives around the idea that abortion's there. They want to run out and do whatever they do, and if they get pregnant, just run down and slurp it out at the Planned Parenthood. And so many people have built their lives, their whole lifestyle is predicated on the idea that if they get clogged up with the fetus, they can go down and get vacuumed out. And there would be such a backlash if you just said, fine, no more abortions. Just the prospect of Roe being overturned, you had these abortion fanatics torching pro-life pregnancy centers because God forbid some woman could find out, oh, what do you mean you can help me find housing? You can help me find a job? You can help me find childcare? Because the abortion clinic's not going to tell her that. They're torching places that offer women other choices besides abortion. And if there was a nationwide abortion ban, I don't think there would be a single church except the Unitarians maybe left standing. They would all be torched. It would the violence that the abortion fanatics, I'm not talking about, Karlyn Borisenko and ordinary pro-choicers. I'm talking about with the abortion fanatics, they would probably firebomb every single pregnancy center in America and half the churches. Because for them, abortion is, it's almost as if it's their reason for living. If there's no abortion, there's no point in living. what you would have to do is kind of gradually get people used to the idea that, you can live a perfectly fine life without abortion. You can make smarter choices about the men you bring into your bed. Stop throwing your knees in the air for some of these slime bags. And, when I listened to a National Abortion Federation tape where these nurses were talking about the patients that kept coming back with post-abortion infections because their boyfriends would not allow them to abstain from sex while they were recovering from their abortions. And these men had multiple sex partners, refused to wear condoms. Now, there's a word for when a man will not let you abstain from sex. And, YouTube's going to get all on me. That word starts with R. It's a 4-letter word that starts with R, when the man will not let the woman abstain from sex. And instead of saying, what can we do? Can we develop a relationship with the battered women's shelter and help these women get out of those relationships? The best solution they could come up with is maybe we could at least get these guys to wear condoms. That's the best they could come up with. So, even if people like Karlyn, I would love to see about 1 million people like Karlyn Borisenko. I'd sit down and negotiate with them. I can tell you, even if you started saying, look, you have to let her see the ultrasound, you have to let her know about resources that are available, the abortion rate would fall by 80%. These stork buses that pull up outside abortion clinics, women who already have appointments go in, get their free ultrasound, and walk out with their baby clothes and their coupons and their referrals to doctors and everything else. Most people are not as infatuated with abortion as the National Abortion Rights Action League and the ACLU and all those other rabidly pro-abortion groups. So, first you do things so that the only women having abortions are the ones that are freely choosing it. And once you get to that point, that it's going to be minuscule. And you just let people get used to that, and then you can start worrying about a ban.
I'm shocked that Trump is pushing this with the Republicans, but he's at least been honest with them, and he's told them that they need to stop with the abortion ban stuff. Trump has basically said that he's using the repeal of Roe v. Wade as leverage in order to get the Democrats to come to the table and negotiate some sort of compromise where you get like a first trimester, like with exceptions for rape, incest, life of the mother, sort of like federal abortion bill. And then, I'm sure they'll probably have some carve out for the states or whatever. But that's a reasonable thing. That is a reasonable thing. Right now, both sides are on the extreme end of crazy goddamn town. The left is crazy because they want abortion up until birth, and yes, they do, because I know that, because I went to the Socialist Reproductive Justice Conference a month ago. I know exactly what they're saying. And then the right's like, no abortion for any reason ever. Well, that's not good either. So there has to be a compromise. Trump is absolutely right about that. And what Trump is saying is that, he's pro-choice. He's just not pro-insanity, which I think is a really respectable position. I am pro-choice. I am not pro-insanity. I am not pro-abortion doula or bathroom abortion or shouting our abortion or abortion pill or self-managed abortion tour I had to go on. I guess I didn't have to go on it, but that I did go on at the Socialist Conference. Because the reproductive justice movement is crazy. They're batshit insane. It is a death cult. For those who don't know, and I documented this on my Substack, karlyn.substack.com, I documented it on this YouTube channel, about a month ago, I went and spent the full day at a Socialist Reproductive Justice Conference, complete with self-managed abortion tour, in which they encouraged me to get an abortion doula.
And I will also link below. In fact, let me open it up while I'm thinking about it. While I'm thinking about it, to go to my channel. And let me pause while I bring this up. Okay, I found it. I did a response to Karlyn's little talk about the bathroom abortions. So there's going to be a plethora of things in the links below. A lot of stuff.
That would sit by the toilet and hold my hand as I have my self-managed abortion and bleed the child into the toilet. And then once I'm done with the self-managed bathroom abortion, I go and worship myself at the abortion shrine. I have pictures of all of this. There was a literal effing abortion shrine in which you worship yourself after you've had your self-managed abortion with your abortion doula in your own apartment, and then you go and worship yourself at this abortion shrine with crystals and candles, and there was even a statue of a fertility goddess.
There was also a statue of the Virgin Mary, I might point out.
I have all of this. I have photos of all of it. So don't tell me the left hasn't gone off their rocker, because they have. That is a death cult. I am pro-choice. I am not pro-insanity. That is a death cult. You are literally worshiping abortion. That is sick. That is twisted. Now, on the other side, we have pro-lifers, and I don't like them either. I think pro-lifers in many respects are just as bad as the socialist reproductive justice warriors on the other side. They're two sides of the same coin. But if I have to choose between life and worshiping myself on a self-managed abortion shrine, you guys are putting me through to a rock and a hard place, Emma. I don't know what to do with that. So Trump is right. The only reasonable solution is a compromise that you can allow for a first trimester abortion, which should be reasonable enough and will accommodate the vast majority of people. Carve out some exceptions for rape, incest, life, and the mother, fine. But can we please just move back into the realm of sanity? Of both sides? Am I asking too much?
Okay, I mean, I disagree with her that saying that, you know, it's never okay to kill an unborn baby is somehow insanity. But, you know, Karlyn is kind of, you know, she's kind of new to this idea that the pro-choice movement is absolutely being led by a bunch of death cultists. So that's my response to Karlyn agreeing with Donald Trump, and enjoy the links I have below.